Hi, I'm Matt Wiseman.
And I'm Mike Duplain, and this is our family meal project.
For our appetizer, we will be making bacon wrapped smokies, and for our entree, we will be making baked garlic parmesan chicken, and for our side dish, cheese mashed potatoes.
And for our salad, we'll be making a strawberry summer salad, and for our dessert, we'll be making sauteed apples.
For our entree, we will be making baked garlic parmesan chicken, and for that, we need 2 tablespoons olive oil, 1 clove of garlic minced, 1 cup dry breadcrumbs, 2/3 cup grated Parmesan cheese, 1 teaspoon dried basil leaves, 1/4 teaspoon ground black pepper, and 6 skinless, boneless chicken breast halves. For the baked garlic Parmesan chicken, the first thing we have to do is mince the clove of garlic. And to do that, we're just going to use a garlic press. Get all that in there.
And while he's doing that, I'm going to be grating the 3/4 cup of Parmesan cheese.
Alright, so we got all the garlic in there. The next thing we have to do is add 2 tablespoons of olive oil. So I'm just going to get olive oil out, and we're using a 1 tablespoon measuring spoon. Just 1. And there's 2.
And while Matt is mixing that together, I'm going to be mincing the 1 tablespoon of basil. Now I'm going to add the 2/3 cup of Parmesan to our 1 cup of dried breadcrumbs. After that, I'm going to add 1/4 of a teaspoon of ground pepper. Then I'm going to add 1 teaspoon of sliced basil. Now I'm going to stir it all together so that we can dip our chicken into it. After this, we will take our chicken breast, dip it into the oil, then dip the chicken breast into the bread mixture.
Now we're going to preheat the oven to 350. Now that that's preheating, we're going to take some rapeseed oil and grease the pan. And we're just going to use a napkin to spread it around. And we're done with that.
Now we're going to be dipping the chicken into our oil and garlic. Then we will be dipping it into our bread mixture. You want to make sure that both sides of the chicken are evenly coated in both the oil and the bread to ensure maximum taste. And we're just going to put this in our greased pan. You have to make sure the pan is greased or it will be burnt to the bottom, and that makes your chicken no good.
And while we have a moment, make sure that when you're using a knife, you know the proper knife safety rules. Or else, you could end up cutting your finger and having to go to the emergency room for 2 hours like my friend Mike here did. It will make a chef project take a lot longer, and it's not very fun.
Now we're going to carefully put our covered chicken into the oven at 350 for 30 minutes. Now we're going to set our timer for 30 minutes. Okay, so we've waited 30 minutes and our chicken is finished. We're going to remove the chicken and place it into the warming drawer until the rest of the food is finished. Now we're going to be making our cheese mashed potatoes. We need 1 quart of buttermilk, 4 pounds of potatoes, then garlic and herb cheese spread.
First thing we have to do to make the cheese mashed potatoes is peel the potatoes. And when you're peeling, you always want to make sure that you're peeling away from your body so that you don't accidentally stab yourself and end up going to the hospital again.
Now we're going to be getting a large pot and filling it about halfway full with warm water. This pot's going to be used for boiling the mashed potatoes for 8 minutes. So now that you have your pot of water getting ready to boil, we're going to add some salt to the water. You don't want to add too much, just eyeball it. You can always add some later. Okay, so now we're going to cut the potatoes into 8s. Then after this, we will add the potatoes to the boiling water and let it simmer for 8 minutes. And you're going to want to put a lid on this to capture all the water that's escaping. You gotta be very careful because some of these potatoes are tough to get through and you don't want to cut your finger. So now we're moving these potatoes to the boiling water, and you want to be careful not to drop these in too hard or the boiling water is going to splash all over you.
You don't want boiling water on your skin. It's not pleasant.
Alright.
So now we need to put the lid on.
And you want to turn it to medium heat, and like I said earlier, let it simmer for about 8 minutes or until it's soft.
And now we're going to take the potatoes off the oven because they're done. Just be careful with the lid, you don't want to accidentally break the oven.
And you want to be careful that you don't bring your partner holding the thing.
Yeah.
Be careful,
This
this
water is
very
boiling,
hot.
it could burn skin.
And you got to make sure you get all the potatoes out. And now after this, we're going to transfer them back into the pot. And we're going to get a spatula so that we can mash them.
And now we're pouring in the 1 quart of buttermilk and mashing the potatoes.
That just looks amazing.
Looks very tasty. Now that we have mashed the potatoes, we're going to add in the garlic and herbs spread. Want to make sure you get it all in there and don't waste any of it. Then you need to mix it in there. For our appetizer, we will be making bacon wrapped smokies. And for this, we need 1 pound of bacon, 1 package of cocktail wieners, and 3/4 cup of brown sugar. So the first thing we have to do is cut the bacon into thirds.
Then after that, we're going to preheat the oven to 325 degrees.
And now that the bacon's cut into thirds, we can wrap each wiener in a third of the bacon.
Then after that, we're going to place them onto the cookie sheet.
And you want to make sure that the wrap is good on the wiener so it doesn't come apart in the oven when it's cooked.
Now we're going to sprinkle brown sugar onto the pan with the smokies on it. And we had to use a liquid measuring cup because we did not have any dry measuring cups. And to get an accurate measurement, we poured the brown sugar into it, then packed it down. So now we're just going to sprinkle this on evenly. And we're going to use the whole thing because it told us to use 3/4 of a cup.
And when you do this, you want to try to get it as evenly coated as possible.
Okay, so now we're going to put the Smokies in the oven for 30 minutes at 325 degrees. And make sure to set your timer so you don't burn them. So after 40 minutes, the Smokies will be done, and we're just going to take them out of the oven and put them into the warming drawer. Now we're going to be doing the summer salad. The ingredients are a tablespoon of red wine vinegar, 1 diced shallot. We need salt and pepper to the taste, 2 teaspoons of olive oil, a head of lettuce, a cucumber, and 2 cups of strawberries, and 1 small pinch of sea salt. For the salad, I'll be cutting this cucumber up, dicing half the shallot, and cutting our strawberries.
And while Mike's doing that, I'm going to peel the outer layer of the lettuce off and slam it to break the lettuce. And this part is no good to eat, so you just want to throw that away. Then just use a knife to cut the lettuce up.
So now we're going to put our chopped lettuce into our big bowl to serve. Then we're going to put our sliced strawberries and cucumbers in there.
And for the dressing, we have to mix in 1 tablespoon of red wine vinegar and 2 tablespoons of olive oil.
Then you also put the half of the shallot in there to mix up.
And then once you've added everything, you take a whisk and whisk it together. You have to make sure you whisk the oil and the vinegar together because they don't like to mix. And now we need to add a little bit of salt and pepper and then toss the salad. You don't need much of the salt or the pepper, it's just to add a little bit more taste. And when you toss the salad, you want to make sure that you get the dressing coated evenly. For dessert, we will be making sauteed apples, and for that we need 1/4 cup of butter, 4 tart apples, 2 teaspoons of cornstarch, 1/2 cup of cold water, 1/2 cup of brown sugar, and 1/2 teaspoon of ground cinnamon. So for the sauteed apples, the first thing we have to do is cut the stick of butter in half so we can get 1/4 of a cup of butter, and then we need to peel the apples and core them.
So now we're gonna core the apples and make sure that none of the seeds or core got in these, and if it did, you're just gonna simply cut it out. So now we're adding the half stick of butter to a saucepan, and we're gonna put it on medium heat and wait for this to spread out evenly. Then we're going to put in the apples.
And now that the butter is melted in the skillet, we can now add the apples. And you want to stir the apples up so it's all coated evenly. And now we need to add the 2 teaspoons of cornstarch to the water. And then add the 1/2 cup of brown sugar, which is right here. All this stuff has already been measured out. And the 1/2 teaspoon of ground cinnamon. And then we stir all of that. Now we're adding the mixture we just made to the apples. And when you pour it in, you want to try to coat it evenly, so you don't have to stir as much. And you stir that in there. And let it cook for 2 minutes.
Hi, I'm Allie. So the salad had a very good dressing, and the apples tasted very good.
Hi, I'm Andrea. The mashed potatoes were creamy and delicious. They had a lot of flavor to them. The bacon and weenies were crisp and they were really juicy. I really liked them. And the chicken was cooked really good and it had a lot of flavor to it.